Okay, guys, we're back with no echo.
I hope. So what do you think happened? Do you think that was just in a
Um,
OBS or is
I
that
think it
is
was an
that what you-
XSplit bug.
Oh, this is how you do it. You get 5 bits by watching an ad. I'm watching an ad right now. Let's see what the
Are
commercial
you gonna
brings
cheer?
me.
You gonna cheer?
Oh, they have a survey. Is
So you do a
making
survey.
it to the top of your profession one of your goals? Sure. Select your age.
Oh my
Proceed to
gosh,
activity.
that was. I love that. I loved that. Sure.
Why not?
Who votes no on that? No.
Meh.
No.
I should. I should have
don't
voted.
care if I make it
Nah.
to the top of
Well, some people, no, people do. I
my
mean,
profession.
they just want to stay, and it's all right. It's no big deal. In the middle management.
Laggity taggity, making the raise. Let's make a call. Let's see a flop with King Queen.
I think I need to.
Good fucking flop for King Queen. Go for
That was
a
a
check
beautiful
raise.
ad. Now what? This is an amazing ad. I interacted with that ad.
What do you do now?
I don't know. It says interact with the ad. Okay. Did. Oh, I'm done. How do I feel? I feel in the middle and about this ad. I feel in the middle. I got 50 bits for it, though.
No way.
Yes, I'm going to watch another ad. This is the new way I'm making money.
Is this the new way I'm making money?
Select my gender. I am a female. This is easy. Select a trailer to watch. Oh, God, I don't like this actress.
Who is it? What's
I'm
the
not gonna
trailer?
say who it is.
Say who it is. Who is it? Is it Meryl Streep?
No, I like Meryl Streep.
Is it?
No, I don't. I shouldn't say I don't like her. Because everybody likes her.
Is it Jennifer Lawrence?
No, I like Jennifer. I love Jennifer Lawrence.
Is it Julia Roberts?
No.
Let me think about who it is. I'm gonna take. A couple
You
more
like her.
guesses,
You
okay?
like her. She's a comedian. I just don't.
Amy Schumer?
Yeah, I just don't like her. Good guess. Good guess. But I do like Goldie Hawn, and she's in this movie.
Amy Schumer is so funny.
Well, it might balance out because Goldie Hawn's in the movie, so.
I'm not really sure which is funnier, Amy Schumer or Eric Cartman saying Amy Schumer is funny.
That's pretty funny, though.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's maybe my favorite thing about.
I'm
the
sure
new
she's
season.
a fine person.
I liked Trainwreck. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
Wow, we get calls from both of them. And an Ace Rag Rag. This is really.
This trailer I'm actually watching looks kind of funny, so.
This is the kind of flop that we're going to continue with. It's because Pocket Tens is pretty vulnerable. I don't want to be giving random hands like King Queen, King Jack, Queen Jack.
That's pretty funny, actually.
What's the trailer? Do you
I don't know the movie. I can't hear it because it's like her. It's like Amy Schumer dating a hot guy, basically. That's the trailer. That's the movie. It looks like from what I'm seeing. It's like, oh, okay. And Goldie Hawn's in it. Like Goldie Hawn's probably to appeal to me.
Her boyfriend in Trainwreck was John Cena, which was pretty funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. Everybody likes John Cena, right?
He was good in it.
Was he?
Yeah, he really was. Okay, let me think
I
here.
think that might be her mom or something. It's a long freaking ad. Jeez. I'm still watching it. This better give me 100 bits. Can't even see the chat right now.
I mean, what was
Oh,
great
Snatched.
What was great about John Cena in Trainwreck is he was like so into her, like overly
Really?
into her.
Okay, I might watch it because that sounds funny.
It was, and there was
That sounds
there was
actually
also
funny,
a scene where she was talking about sports that really had me rolling. It
Okay.
was.
I feel okay about that ad, and I will take a survey. Let's take another survey. I am not familiar at all with this movie. There you go. Next. So weird. I feel like, you know what I feel like I'm doing right now? You know how you get those emails saying if you do surveys, you will make money?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like right now.
It turns out that you can't.
But I'm making bits. Pennies. Oh my gosh. Probably not. Oh, damn it. All I got were 5 bits for that shit. Not doing that again. So the first ad I watched, it was 50 bits. The second ad, not so much. Not so much. Look. Wait, okay, I have a bit now. Now how do I use the bit? Now how do I use this bit? I have 55 bits. I am reigning in biddies. Give bits? If I had a bit. Okay. I don't know what to do. JD Cole, hey! Good to see you.
It's great to see you, JD.
Oh, do you have the information up, please? Now, now that I have bits, how do I give them, Dutch?
What you do is right next to the emoticon
Yeah.
button in chat, there's a little bit button in chat.
Yeah, I pushed it and it won't let me do it.
What does it say?
It says get bits. I have 55
so
bits.
maybe you don't have them yet.
It says I have 55. Maybe I get bits, but I can't give bits? Oh. Oh. Did I cheer yet? Oh, there you go. Cheer 1. That's how you do it. I did it!
Thanks for the bit. Thanks for the bit, Michelle. I really appreciate that.
Okay. Sorry. Now let's get back to the important poker stuff.
By the way, Vice Chick, it turns out that the little bit cup is part of an overlay package that I don't use. So it's not part of Streamlabs. It's part of something called Muxio. But I'll look into that because it looks like maybe it's a little bit better than the Streamlab that I use right now.
Oh, so cool. Okay, I get it. I'm getting it. So you type the word cheer and then you put the money in.
That's awesome.
Okay. All right. I like it. Cheer, cheer. That's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. All right.
So, doing a little research here on the side, thinking about some interesting things about game theory. You want to hear them, Michelle?
Sure.
So, when von Neumann introduced his idea of equilibrium, he basically, with a mathematical proof, showed that
this is where we left off.
Yeah.
From the conversation about him going up to his friend, when he said, I can imagine him going to his mathematician friend and just ripping up his idea and saying, I'm going to take it.
Well, this is how it works. Okay, so von Neumann published this, this big text, Game Theory and Economic Behavior, and he had this proof in 1949, which showed that in any zero-sum game with a finite set of rules, there existed an equilibrium. There was a right move and a wrong move where your opponent couldn't lower your expectation. And then a few years go by, and John Nash puts up a proof that removes the zero-sum part of it.
I'm going to make up a proof myself right now as you talk.
You should try to make a proof.
Okay, go. What's John Nash's?
John Nash says it doesn't matter if it's zero-sum or not. If it's plus sum, If it's negative sum, it doesn't matter. That as long as a game has a finite set of rules, there does exist an equilibrium. It was a 2-page paper. 2 pages.
I thought it was going to be like
And von Neumann
a
looked
square
at
plus
it
b square equals c square.
and basically just tore it to shreds and said, you're just repeating what we said in 1949.
Oh.
And Nash is like, no, I'm not, because what you said in 1949 is for any zero-sum game. And I'm saying for any game. And von Neumann is like, you're just restating what we said about equilibrium. And Nash is like, well, now we're going to call it Nash equilibrium. Nash equilibrium. And everyone's like, yeah, we're going to call it Nash equilibrium now. I'm not convinced that John Nash really had that much of a contribution to game theory, really. And I think the reason why his name is synonymous to game theory in the public is just because of Russell Crowe.
Just because of Russell Crowe?
Just because of Russell Crowe.
So, okay. Fair. That was a good movie, though. So sad.
Here's a question on Quora. Who had the bigger contribution to game theory, von Neumann or Nash?
Well, obviously von Neumann, right?
I think it was von Neumann, yeah. Here's a good answer by a guy named Peter Flom. Von Neumann created game theory. You can't make a bigger contribution than creating the whole field.
Right, exactly. That's a good one. Oh, that reminds me, a funny Quora question that Dutch had read about a programmer that was 16.
Yeah, he asked Quora, is 16 years old too old to learn how to code? And just over and over, people were like, yeah, yes. Man, it's too late for you. It's too late for you. 16's too old.
It's way too old.
Anytime somebody says,
but it reminds me when I was 16, people would say that I'd have to do things and it was too late too. And I just think it's adults trolling children.
I think so too.
Yeah, and that child's going to really think that, he might be too old until some adult says they're just trolling you. Then he has to look up trolling and then he becomes a troll instead. And that's how trolls are born.
Is 36 too old to become a Mouseketeer?
No.
It's never too old. You're never too late.
You can do Kappas too.
Is 36 too old to be in a boy band?
Yes, Dutch.
Is 36 years old too old to become a professional basketball player? Yeah. Yeah, it's too late.
My Wee Wee Green says, if someone tips you 10 bits, then for the next 2 minutes, he'll tip you 15 bits. Should I invest 10 bits to get 15? Here. How do you do it? You go like, cheer. Oh, I can. I'm going to cheer. 10? I think that's how you do it.
Here's a guy named Manjanath Pai. He says, the contribution by Nash stands out. Watch the movie A Beautiful Mind. It's like, oh, gosh. Okay, I'll watch that movie.
So what do you think about the whole... what's your conclusion about Nash's game theory thingy then?
My conclusion is that I don't...
Like, what do you think about it? Do you think it's still a reliable theory?
Well, it's a proof. And let's go 3x here. When I look at like the little paper he wrote, I don't understand it. My maths is not that strong. Pretty much petered out around Calc 2. So when it comes to like understanding the actual symbols that go into a proof and trying to follow along with it, it's pretty hard for me. But the basic theory that in any game that's finite, there is a right move. I really like that, that theory, and the fact that that has been proven is kind of nice. So the next time you ask a poker question and somebody's like, "Well, it depends," you can look at them and say, "Well, no, it doesn't. There is a right and wrong answer." That's what's really interesting about GTO and equilibrium and Nash equilibrium. I do think that it probably should have been called Newman equilibrium, but I guess Nash equilibrium has a little bit of a better ring to it than von Neumann equilibrium. But I think it's really interesting. Ask someone a question. How much should you raise under the gun with pocket aces when you have 13 big blinds and you're in a situation where you're about 15 away from the money, like we were last night? Should you raise 3x? Should you raise 2.5x? Should you shove all in? And if someone says, "Well, it depends," you can say, "Well, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. There is a right answer, at least when it comes to equilibrium." Now, what's interesting about equilibrium is there's a difference between Nash equilibrium and something called Pareto efficiency. Nash equilibrium is making sure that nobody can react to in a way that would lower your expectation, but it doesn't it doesn't actually seek the maximum expectation if other participants are playing along as well. If that makes sense. So there can actually be multiple right answers, and they're kind of right for different reasons.
So the depends is the right answer.
No. Depends is a cop-out. It depends is always a cop-out.
Says Judge.
It's always like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't want to really..."
It depends.
I'm going to offer up an answer here, but I don't want to be embarrassed if someone comes along and says that that's not the right answer. So I'm going to just say it depends. It's the difference between exploitative and optimal.
What's better? Probably optimal, right? Because exploitative could it backfire?
Well, when it comes to poker, I think that we should all be trying to strive to be playing in an optimal format.
But everybody doesn't play optimal poker.
Nobody does.
Does the theory? Does it? Yeah, we can discuss it all day, I suppose. But I mean, yeah, you're not going to play optimal poker all the time.
Nobody plays optimal poker because poker hasn't been solved. There's not.
Is there a way?
No one knows what the answer is. Maybe I should have bet on the turn. I think that would probably take that 540 if I fire out on the turn.
Ooh. Do you have the info up, babe?
No, I don't. Put the info tab up. We're at 16 out of 39. We've lost 10 people so far. Lay Reg is still open, so that's 10 people who are saying no to this double add-on. Kind of surprises me. Got Scorpio in the stream. Long time no see, buddy. Good to see you, man.
The Natural. Have you seen that movie? It's about being too old to play pro sports. Sounds sad.
That's not what it's about.
That's what it says, The Natural.
It's about a guy who does and go back and play sports. I'm pretty sure, if I remember The Natural, it's about a guy with a very special bat that was carved by the wood of a tree
elves.
That was struck by lightning.
And elves carved it.
No, I'm telling you the truth. I'm not making this up. He had a magic bat. And he hit a home run with it
every day.
And went so far that it busted out the light. And then he was struck by lightning.
And died.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but that's how I remember that movie.
And he
Okay, let me
picked up
take a
the
look.
game like he was a natural.
Z-Man has a question. I like Z-Man. Z-Man is a grinder. Z-Man is a fellow Vegas grinder here on WSOP Nevada. Always makes it deep, always gives me trouble. He has a question. He says, hey Dutch, what is your opinion on these low buy-in, skyrocket, high rake MTT events that are charging 15 to 20% juice like these $250 deep stacks at Venetian?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that anyone can make a feasible living off playing these events? A lot of people I have talked to about it say the same thing. One, it's standard, and two, the bad rec players make up for the high juice, which I think isn't true. What are your thoughts? Z-Man, no one really knows. What I can tell you is this. There is definitely going to be a point where a tournament is raked too high to be beatable. You know, and I don't know where that point is. Definitely the higher the rake, the lower the percentage of the field that can possibly have a positive ROI is. A 20% juice like the Venetian deep stacks is enough to keep me away from most of them.
Yeah. I try to talk him into it, guys.
He does, you know, yeah, like, there's a lot of players out there who seem to be doing okay, but it could also just be, you know, it could also just be variance. I mean, I think when I look at the World Series, they rake the hell out of those events, but there's so many people in those events, and there's still only like 10% juice, 9% juice. The $250 events at Venetian where they're raking 20%, what can your ROI really be in that? Realistically, like what's the best player in the, you know, in poker who is going to be playing that event? What is the best player in that event's ROI? Because if it's over, if it's a 0% ROI, I'd be surprised. I think that those fields are too small and the rake is too high to realistically have more than like a 35-40% ROI in it. And if you only have a 40% ROI in a $250 buy-in event, you know, you're looking at what is that, $100 in expectation. And if you have that big of an ROI in that event, if you break it down by the hour, I think you're probably better off playing cash. You know, I think that you're probably better off playing cash than a $250 event at the Venetian, just because of how heavy they rake it. If you have a plus ROI, I think that your hourly rate is just going to be better in different spots. And forget about cash versus that tournament. I think that your expectation is just going to be better in a better raked tournament. Take the 250 that you would be playing at the Venetian and instead pop it in the weekend at the Wynn. You know, the field, in my opinion, is softer, and they don't rake it as heavy. When I'm thinking about whether I'm going to be playing those mid-stakes tournaments, one of the first things I look at is the rake, and if it's too high, I don't go. Not only because I don't think that I have enough of an ROI to make it worth my while once the rake gets a certain point, and for me that's above about 12%. But it's also because I don't want to support that. You know, as a player, you should be, you know, trying to support, casinos and stops that actually make the game beatable and rewarding for the maximum amount of people. You know, it's fine that they can take a profit, but you know, tournaments by their very nature is just a big redistribution of wealth within the community. You know, that's very top heavy. They're always just trying to make the big, the big headline, and the bigger they can get first place to be, the better it is for the casino, but the worse it is for everybody else. So
you also don't want to support that kind of behavior either.
That's pretty much it. I would stay away from those. I'm probably going to be playing a few of the Venetian deep stack events, but I'm waiting until those big weekend ones where the rake is a little bit softer, like the 1600 the 1600 main. But I would basically say, yes, they're beatable. I think that you can probably get to about a 30% rake before it really becomes unbeatable. And for you, you are a good enough player with enough experience that I think that you'd probably be able to beat it, but that doesn't mean that you should try. You know what? Let's go for it. Let's make the raise here against BRB Gut P, because Ace-10 offsuit figures to be the best hand. I still think we've got the best hand. I still think that BRB Got to P is probably coming in here with some weak-ass ace, like Ace-6. Well, he makes the call. So now I'm thinking DOA. Dead in the water unless a queen or maybe an ace comes. He's firing out 160 into a 2720 pot, so I think that's one of our outs. I really do. I think that's probably one of our outs. So let's fire out a half pot. The idea here is to bet out and probably fold if he does that.
Shit.
All right. Bet fold is the line we took. Nice hand. Here we got BRB Got a P, another open limp.
Have you played him before?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay. Do you have notes?
No, just bony fish. My only note on him.
Oh, he loves calling you down.
He does,
He loves spending that 160.
I guess.
Jeez. These shoves right here. Oh. Oh shit.
Like he missed the river value bet, and he really cost himself a lot on that turn value bet.
That was weird.
It was weird. I mean, he's open limping with hands like Ace King offsuit.
But at least now you know that's
He's
what he's limping.
making calls when he's.
So what do you think he limped in with something good then?
Who knows?
That
know.
prior hand?
I think
Or do you
he's
think he's
limping with his whole range.
He just limps. This is a limper. He just likes to limp and see.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's playing
He's
poker
probably
like he
peeing.
would.
As he's
I
playing.
think he's playing poker like he would play video poker,
Ah.
where the two cards, are like the 5 cards you get in video poker, and then you click hold to see a flop. I think that's basically what he's doing.
Disco, disco. C-Man Poker
Yeah, we'll make the fold here.
agrees with you, Dutch, and thinks that people should boycott casinos until they lower their rake. You making notes? Yeah, making notes on him. Typer.
Thanks, C-Man. Appreciate the kind sentiment.
Win by TKO. Thank you. We missed you too. It's good to be back, though.
You know what else? I wish I could really get behind and support, but I just can't. I just can't because they rake the hell out of them. Are the WSOP circuit prelims?
Yeah.
The rake on those prelims is so high. So high. I really want to go out and play some of those events and try to win a ring, but then I look at it and think, do I really want to support this? There's a WSOP circuit coming up on pretty soon at Bally's, I think. and Planet Hollywood, and like over at Planet Hollywood, the guy who runs that room, Chris Koralik, I love Chris. I think he's awesome, and I want to go and support him in his room, but I just can't. I can't feel good about. It looks like Bally's doesn't have a stop. I can't feel good about the exorbitant rake. We've got like a $365 tournament.
Yeah, but Dutch, at the same time, how many people do you think play in the casinos? Like, because they're compensating, aren't they, for the space that they're using and people not doing the slot machines? Because that's what they're trying to get money at. They're trying to make more money per footage, right?
They're trying to make as much money as they can. They're just
Yeah.
trying to squeeze as much as they can.
Yeah, but a lot of poker
as
players,
quickly
a lot
as
of
they
poker.
can.
I mean, how many poker players do slot machines? I mean, usually poker players don't really do. I mean, I guess they're advantage players pretty much.
I'm not quite sure what the point is that you're trying to make.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that they have to balance it out, and they're trying to make money, and since that space is being occupied by people sitting and not up and doing the casinos and not walking around, it might balance it out.
Look, I understand that
I don't mind the rake.
They're basically
Not play either.
There is basically an opportunity cost when they offer a tournament. That they're basically thinking, look, we can either have poker tables here or we can have slot tables here, or slot machines here, and unless we rake at 18%, we won't be able to make as much as we would be able to make if we put slot machines in this spot. I can understand that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's probably what
and
the
I would say
negotiations
that
is.
falls into the category of not my problem. I don't care.
But what if they don't have it anymore? What if because they feel like that it's not worth their time to have poker?
Then somebody else will come along and do it.
Maybe.
There's a lot of dead space in some of these casinos.
So there's a lot of dead space, but because you're the only game in town and you're going to offer a higher rake because you're the only game in town.
Let me tell you what the problem is. Z-Man, this is the problem, okay? The problem is that the rake is transparent. You can't see it. You can't see it. If they handled it like this, you bought a 365 where they're raking $65. It's almost a 20% rake, an 18% rake. If they handled it like this, everybody bought in for 300, sat down at the table, and right before the tournament started, and cards were in the air, the tournament director came around to every table and said, okay, now you have to pay your buy-in, and everybody had to pay $65. I think it would sink into them that, wow, this is a lot of money that I'm paying to play poker. Like with cash games, you get to a certain point where you pay time instead of rake, and players start actually realizing, wow, this is costing me $35 to play an hour. If that was something...
Well, it's like a house fee. It's like you're paying a fee.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you're paying a fee. You're renting the space so you can potentially make money.
What's really cool about those
They
those
provide you
upper limit
electricity and
games
seats and dealers.
is that they stop making it transparent. But like at a 2-4 or 4-8 limit game, you're paying the same amount as you would be paying in like in a 100-200 limit game or a 25-50 no limit game. They're just taking it out of your winnings so you don't see it. They took $4, $5, $6 from you. $4 and then $2 for the bonus, jackpot. But they're sliding you a pot so you feel like you won. You don't feel like they took anything. Imagine if you bought in for a game and they said, okay, sir, would you like some chips? And you're like, yeah, give me a rack. And they're like, okay, great. And how long do you want to play for? And you're like, I guess I'll play for 2 hours. And they're like, okay, then that's going to be an extra $40. And there was no rake. It would be the same thing. You're giving them $40, but the fact that you're giving it to them, not out of your winnings, but out of your pocket.
It feels like it's more out of your pocket rather than the pot for sure.
When they rake tournaments, they rake in the same way that they rake cash games, invisibly. You know, invisibly.
So it's better to play cash because it's about the same rake.
Well, I think it's better generally to play cash just because the hourly rate that you can make on average in a cash game is going to be higher than
what you
small
can
and
possibly win
tournaments.
Yeah.
And
that's if you cash and the time you spend as well.
It's a little easier on your it's a little easier on your psyche. You know, it's it's tournament poker is very much feast or famine. You know, living score to score. Whether where cash is supposed to be much more steady. You're supposed
stable. Yeah. It's interesting.
It's also easier to pick good spots in cash games than it is tournaments. You don't get to pick a good spot.
In tournaments, no. You have to deal with what you have in the tournament.
Exactly right, and you just you
and
pick a
the
good
rake is already
field,
gone.
You hope that you get a good table draw, and you hope that the people that you're up against aren't going to be really good. And once you get to the end, everyone's pretty decent. In cash games, you get to look and you get to play with the same people.
And you get to leave.
And you get to leave.
You get to be like, up, don't want to.
Which is really kind of nice. Tournaments reward certain types of players, though.
It's a different type of play as well.
Yeah, it is.
Versus cash versus tournament play. I think tournament play is more, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Is it a sprint though for cash games? Because it's a patient game, waiting game as well. When you play cash.
I was just agreeing with what you said. I don't know, like.
It's a marathon.
What's the marathon? Tournaments are a marathon?
Like you're there for the long term.
I actually feel like if we were going to say one was a sprint and the other was a marathon.
You think a sprint is the tournament?
The tournaments would be the sprint.
No, no, because you have to pace yourself. You have to pace your stack.
Well, you can win a tournament by running really, really, really fast and really good.
But you can wear yourself out. No. But you wear yourself out, and then you eventually fail the marathon, and then you're in last place instead of first place. You're supposed to have a steady pace and chip up, and keep that pace, and then you complete it, hopefully in the top 5.
I think that I think that tournaments are the sprint.
No, because sprint is the cash game because you're only playing that table, and if you just run it up and you take everyone's money, then they're done. You win. Sprint, one table. Yeah.
You know what sucks also about casinos charging so much rake?
They charge you for drinks now, or they're gonna.
Yeah.
MGM, right? They're gonna and parking.
And parking. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But one thing that sucks is casinos don't. Casinos, if they try to lower the rake, maybe they'll have more people coming in, but they don't really see the benefit right away.
Say that again? Say that comment again. I didn't
if casinos lower the rake, they don't really see the results right away. From a business point of view, short-term
more
business
people
point
would
of view,
play. I would think. I think it's a better, if people, because a lot of poker players that we know,
people don't really care about it. People don't pay attention to it.
Don't care unless you're Alan Kessler.
A very small percentage of players are even thinking in terms of like ROI.
Yeah, because they're looking at like, okay, they want to win that big prize at the end of the rainbow.
And everybody thinks that they are a favorite in a spot.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're exactly.
What do you guys think about like going for another 3,600 here? That's our gin card.
Gin. Good. So, did you read what Corona said about a tournament in... Where was it? It was a...
Karina,
yeah. Where was it? They were talking about a $1 million heater in Biloxi. And the payout were so flat for a $600,000 guaranteed. They ended up getting a $780,000 prize pool, and first didn't even get $100,000.
Oh my gosh!
Jesus, not even.
Wow. Oh, Corona 225. Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so bad.
That is bad.
That's really bad.
Who was running that tournament? Does it say? Did you see who was like what? Was it just the casino? But it's like you can't be outraged because they don't even announce the prize pool till the end, right? Or until the middle, and you're already committed. And then everybody's like, "Well, we're in this. We gotta win that 90,000 or whatever, that 98,000. We're already in it, and I'm deep, so we're going all the way because you can't even really complain. You just play or don't play, right? It's weird." Oh wow! So Z-Man says that the rake for the Venetian cash game is horrible.
Yeah, I thought it was a $4 cap.
Wow.
Maybe they're
probably
some of that bonus money.
That's. Yeah, it's.
So it's 5 and 1. You pretty much just ignore the 1. 6.
Sprint tournaments, Dutch. Sprint in this tournament. Let's do it. Shove. Let's do it.
Okay. You got it. I'm going to shove.
No.
I'm shoving. Any flop, I'm shoving. Any flop.
Do you have aces?
No, got pocket 2s.
Aww.
Yeah, so Z-Man, pretty much anytime you're in a spot where they're collecting a bonus, like a bonus pool, I don't like it. You know, obviously I don't like it, but you can't really treat it the same as a rake.
So a bonus pool is like a bad beat?
Yeah, a bonus pool is like they'll take $1 from every pot and add it to like a bad beat jackpot or add it to...
But that's another thing to add on to, like... your cash gameplay too, right? If there's a big what's it, a pot for the thingy, if it's a big prize for the bad beat, then it's worth playing.
A bad beat jackpot?
Yeah, if it's like huge.
Usually bad beat jackpots usually don't factor into my into my equation at all.
Oh really?
Whether I'm going to play a game or not.
That would be for me. I'd be like, I'm going to play 1, 2 until this thing hits.
If anything, the bonus money is a deterrent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because it's like taking more money out of your pocket, and it's like you're probably not going to hit it.
Well, it takes more money out of your pocket. It's like it's like a rake, but
it's gambling.
Usually, that money that they're taking is fed into promotions. That if you're sitting at a table that's taking the money out, you actually have added equity because of that promotion. But it's generally you are paying for the marketing budget at a casino. You know, so it's I don't know. Z-Man, you're kind of right that you shouldn't ignore it. Because it kind of is like a direct rake, especially if that money is being used in promotional ways that you don't have any benefit from while you're sitting there. A lot of times, like let's say at the Rio, for example, they have this like bonus pool, and how they, what they do with it is at the end of every month, anybody who has put in like 2,000 hours in the tables gets to come back for a free roll. So they take all the money and they give it back to the players who play the most. And if you aren't, among those players who are, planning on living at the Rio for a month, you don't really get your money back. You don't get to, participate in that. So it's basically like they're taking money from the, from the short-term regs and giving it back to those. And other times, what they'll do is they'll take the, the bonus pool money and they'll have like a player of the week or a player of the month for their tournament series. So you're basically subsidizing the tournament prize pools, which doesn't really make a lot of sense either. But for the most part, when you're paying a bonus fee out of every pot, usually it's going to things like high hand jackpots and bad beat jackpots that you have a little bit of extra equity in the game that you're playing, in the next hand that you're playing. But even then, it's usually in a situation where you are basically sacrificing equity for future players to have equity. Kind of like it's kind of like playing the Powerball when the jackpot is 40 million. It's kind of like that. You're basically subsidizing the future expectation, of future players by taking a bigger hit now. Does that make any sense to you guys?
It's kind of like Social Security.
It's kind of like Social Security. Exactly.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. I don't know. I mean, there's give and take. I know you don't like the rake, but at the same time, I don't think the casinos would care whether the poker players would be in the casinos. I think they would probably rather not have poker rooms.
I think a lot of casinos. You're right about that. I think a lot of casinos, if they had a choice, would shut the poker rooms down.
But they only have them. It's like entertainment. They only have it for
feature.
It's a
like
feature.
The pool.
Yeah, it's not what you're in there for.
Yeah, they're not making any money off of the pool.
Yeah. Or exactly.
But they don't treat it like a loss leader either. They're not making any money off the pool. They're making money off of these tournaments. They're making money off of the cash games. They just see it as an opportunity cost, but it's still profitable.
Is it though? Is it?
Notorious. I always kind of felt like Notorious had a negative connotation.
Yeah, notorious means bad, doesn't it? Infamous. Infamous? Notorious?
Famous or well known, typically for some bad quality or deed.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like Phil Ivey is a notorious poker player.
Notorious. Well, he is. He does owe millions of dollars to casinos.
He's not famous because of the Brigada thing. He's famous because he has 9 bracelets.
He's a good poker player, right?
And because...
But isn't he notorious for sneaking in the casinos and playing at a young age?
No,
but that adds to his
10 bracelets.
But doesn't that add to his the bad image though?
And you know what's really sick about Phil Ivey? He's got 31 final tables and 10 bracelets. That's a hell of a closing percentage.
Wow, that's a lot. 31.
For every final table he gets to, he wins it 33% of the time. That's pretty good. You look at that final table to win percentage, and that percentage is, in my estimate, how you rank a player. Guys like Eric Seidel, Fedor Holtz. Let's look at his ratio. 3-1. He doesn't really have a lot of WSOP finishes. I guess it's probably more
Isn't he really young?
Fedor?
I don't know. Yeah, he's still young, dude.
Yeah, he's really young. He's
How
born
old's
in
Phil?
93.
How old's Phil Ivey?
40, I think.
Oh, wow.
39.
Yeah. Wow,
He
he was
turns
born
40
in...
on
Wait,
February 1st.
Theodore, he was born in 93? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Fuck. Jesus criminy.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the bonus pool, you guys. When they take a little extra rake as a bonus pool, it's basically the casino saying you players are going to pay for our marketing budget.
Yeah.
We don't
Makes
really
sense.
feel like paying for the promotions.
We don't want to do the
offer.
guarantee. We want you to make the guarantee yourself, right? Basically.
We want to have some nice promotions, but we don't want to pay for it out of our marketing budget. We want you guys to pay for it.
That makes sense when you put it that way. Very, very good insight, Dutch.
Why don't they
what
just
can
pay
we do
for
to
it
change
with,
this?
Why don't they just pay for it with the rate they're already collecting?
Because
You
they have to
know?
pay for their employees.
Well, they don't want to. You know, what really is the difference between raking $5 or raking $4 and taking $1 for a bad beat jackpot?
So, dealers get paid hourly too, right? Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, they
Dealers get paid hourly,
and they
but
get tips?
mainly make their money off of tips.
like, do they get paid like $2 an hour or something?
Oh my gosh, you want to hear a dirty rumor?
No.
You want to hear a dirty rumor
Wait,
about one of
we're
my
on
favorite
break,
poker
so
players?
we're not break. Did you rebuy? An add-on, dude? Before we listen to the dirty stuff.
Can I tell you?
No. Wait until you add on and rebuy, dude. Did you do it? Are you still in the tournament? Because
I'm still in the tournament. I just got the add-on. We are on break. We're gonna go on a break.
You're okay.
I wanna talk dirty about a player.
Okay, wait. Can you mute it?
No, I want to do it on stream.
Oh no, I'm just kidding. Okay, what are we hearing? What
One of my
is the-
favorite poker players. Turns out that one of my favorite poker players is hated by the dealers at the Venetian.
Really?
Yeah,
Who's their favorite poker player?
Annette.
Really?
Annette Oberstad.
I didn't know she was, I didn't know it was Evgeny. I was like, oh, okay.
Evgeny is one of my favorite
I
poker
know.
players, but Annette Oberstad also is one of my favorite poker players.
Aw, why is she
It turns
hated?
out that she's pretty much across the board from the dealers hated over there at the Venetian.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because
weird.
Because she doesn't tip. She doesn't tip. She's a host over there.
Yeah.
She's getting paid to host the games.
Yeah, but I think I know that tipping is supposed to be a thing, and I understand that in that world, if they expect people to tip because it helps them. But
Yeah.
I don't think people should expect it.
Well, dealers do
Kind of
expect
takes,
it.
but it takes away from the what it's supposed to be.
Look,
It's not.
Maybe
but it's
it
not
wouldn't be a
people's
big
jobs.
deal.
It's not people's jobs.
but she's
to-
getting paid by the casino to be there.
I know.
She's getting paid by the room to be there.
But it'd be I
And
know.
one of the big reasons why, in her position especially, she should be tipping is because she needs to let all the other players know that that's expected of them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is that's why that tipping shouldn't. That's like a salary. I mean, you're tipping them to subsidize. You're talking about rake, but then you're expecting the players to pay for the employees.
That's just how it works.
So does
That's how it
rake.
works. You know, it's just
I
like in a
understand. She should
restaurant.
she should tip something.
She should.
Something. Something. But I mean, it's we don't know what her situation is. She might.
She's getting paid by the Venetian to sit in those games and promote.
Do you know how much she's
the
getting paid?
games. No.
Maybe she's not getting paid enough.
Maybe not.
You know, I we don't know her situation, but people should tip.
I
think it's. I mean,
still am a big fanboy when it comes to Net 15.
I know when I mean,
And I understand where she's coming from because at the end of the year, when she's looking at how much she's won or lost,
But it's a
tipping
pain in the
ends up
ass.
coming out of $10,000-$15,000 in tips.
but in a working
Yeah.
environment, tipping is a pain in the ass because it's like people expect it. I mean, when I was a dancer, it was a pain in the ass when people expect me to tip the
But you did.
bouncers, and only because they were going to fire you or they were going to give you
Yeah.
shit.
That's
You
right.
know? And that's what they're
Because
doing
it's
to her. They're
expected,
trying
and
to
if you
push
don't
her out.
tip, then you're pretty well hated by everybody who's
But
not
it's
tipping.
hated. I think is a strong word. I think that's a really strong word. I mean, hated is kind of it's a strong word.
Okay, so maybe not hated, but talk shit about.
Like, what do they say? I mean, what can you say? She doesn't tip.
They say,
That's
"Oh, I
I guess
hated
that's the I guess that's the extent of their ship talk. She's cheap.
Well, they also start coming up with other reasons not to like her, like she's cold. She doesn't interact with any of the other players. We're paying her to be there and make the games enjoyable.
I guess that's how society works, doesn't it? You have to bribe your way into having people
Yeah.
like you. So
All
where's the
other
bits,
reasons
guys?
that they come up
Where's the bits?
all the other reasons that they come up they come up with to shit talk Annette. I think they wouldn't have those reasons if she just threw him $1 every other pot.
Every other pot, huh? $1 every other
It's
pot.
better than nothing.
I don't know how.
Yeah, it's probably
I
also-
personally don't know
I
how the
would be-
tipping works.
Generally, I tip $1 every pot,
Yeah.
and it sucks. Every single time, it sucks.
Maybe you
I hate
should
this.
see what
I hate
happens.
that. I hate that. But if you don't,
Ah,
then
my negative energy is out there.
it's basically like going to a restaurant and not tipping.
Yeah, but if you're never going to that restaurant,
You-
I guess it's different. She's there every day too. I mean, she works there, so it's different as well. Maybe she doesn't understand that she's young. Maybe she doesn't understand
That's
that.
what I'm saying. Because she works there, it's even more important for her to tip.
Maybe she doesn't understand that she's supposed to tip. I mean,
I should email her.
you should. You should be like,
Maybe
it's
you
not
don't understand this enough.
because when I started working as a dancer, they tell you things like, it's not expected of you, but it's appreciated, and it's like it's very much hinted that you have to give
expected,
everybody money. You have
it
to give
is.
the freaking guy that walks to the car money. You have to give the house mama money for stupid
Well,
stuff. You
let
have to
me-
give the It's
Well,
stupid.
Let me put it this way.
It's stupid.
The two hosts over there at the Venetian, Erica Schoenberg and Annette Oberstadt.
Mm-hmm.
The dealers love it, Erica, because she tips. And they hate Annette because she doesn't.
Well, maybe it's Erica's fault
Now,
then.
Annette is
Well, maybe it's
let me
Erica's fault for
finish my
tipping.
point.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I understand why Annette doesn't do it, because at the end of the year, she's looking at a $15,000 or $20,000 hit because of those tips, where
Okay.
each dealer gets to share the $400 that she tipped them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it matters for her individually way more than any dealer individually. So
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, but Annette's a bigger name than Erica. There's no question about that. And when it comes to who's going to get their contract renewed, it's going to be Erica.
Yeah, but
gonna be Erica.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you are a good player, it doesn't matter. You know, it's like all these movie stars when they're like, when a famous person comes to like a club, they expect everything for free.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
I mean, that's what the mentality is.
She's playing 2-5 no limit.
Well, she probably feels like they're lucky to have her. I mean, because she is a name. She's a name.
She's a big name.
You know, I mean, it's too bad that they all hate her.
I know.
Yeah, but they won't talk shit to her face, I bet. So whatever.
No.
I don't consider people hating me until they fucking talk shit to my face. I'm like, duh, shit. It's mine now. No. But hey, whatever.
So Bonyfish says, years ago I actually sat next to a player in a bad beat jackpot eligible game, and the dude tells me all he does is go from casino to casino with bad beats and plays in low limit games with his bud, and they try to get involved in hands with potential for bad beats as cheaply as possible. Of course, I took advantage of that little tidbit. You know what, Bonyfish? That sounds like not a good strategy. That sounds, I could imagine a guy winning like two big bad beat jackpots one year, writing a book about how to win at poker, and his strategy that he tells everybody is just go around and win the bad beats. It's ridiculous. I won the winner's share of a bad beat jackpot one time in my poker career, and
It was the best day of your life.
there's no way that all the money that I put down in that bonus jackpot hole has not more than triple or quadrupled that amount that I won. My little brother, when he was just starting out in Culver City, when we in the old crew days, he went to the Hollywood Park and he won a table share of the bad beat at Hollywood Park 2 times, like in back-to-back weeks, and he thought that it was just like going to be a regular thing. He didn't realize how
Well, that's how
rare
they
that
get you.
is.
That's how they get you, man. You get that, Look,
Being a dealer is very much like working in the service industry.
it is. There's not
Where-
very. It's not. It is a service industry job.
It is, yeah. It is a service industry job where tipping is bullshit. Tipping is bullshit. It really is like restaurants saying, we're
You
not
get
going to pay our
$2.
employees.
Well, how they from my understanding before, I don't know how it is now because I'm not in the service industry as far as the waitresses, but I thought they were getting paid. This was years ago, like $2
Yeah.
an hour.
There was a
and then you have to be polite, I guess, and and hustle money. I don't know. It's just you can't hustle either. I mean, it's not like, hey, dude, can you give me $5 extra? Because I only make $2.50 an hour.
Yeah.
And a lot of people from other countries don't understand that either.
No, because other countries don't have this tipping thing. There was a really good Adam Ruins Everything video about why tipping is bullshit.
It is bullshit.
But what are you going to do about it? Because the answer is not, as a consumer, don't tip in America.
Well, yeah, unfortunately.
That's not the answer. I think that the only way that would really be able to
but then again,
get away from the tipping economy in the service industry is to rework our labor laws where we do not allow restaurants to be paying their employees less than minimum wage.
Yeah.
That needs to happen. It's not fair to be like, okay, well, we're going to only pay you $2 an hour because you are going to make tips.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is though in Nevada anymore, but yeah, and that's how they justify not paying their employees as much.
All right, so Crook making a little 3x here. We've got pocket jacks, so let's do that. Not afraid. We got the fourth best hand. Z-Man, my favorite is when dealers...
It's still $8 now. It says, I don't know if this is right, though.
Is that right?
I don't know. I really don't know. Anybody I'm sure we have a waiter or a waitress.
My favorite is when dealers expect a much bigger tip for a much bigger pot. They didn't actually do anything different. There's not really that much of a difference between how much work a dealer has to do to amass a $40 pot or a $400 pot. So why are you tipping differently? Players do. Players throw out $5, $6 tips for big pots that they win, and those players, you know what we call those players? Recreational players.
But I missed the whole.
There's just no pro out there who's going to ever toss a $6 or $7 tip or a $10 tip to a dealer, because at the end of the year, when you start looking at your results, you start really feeling all those tip dollars, all the tips to the valet, all the tips to the the dealers. You really start feeling it when you look at.
Well, especially having a bad month. And then they expect that you to tip. At the end of the
year, when you're like, wow, I would have an extra $15,000 right now if I didn't tip $1 every pot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, look at this. I would have an extra $8,000 right now if I self-parked instead of paid the valet every time I. It's.
Yeah, when I was a dancer, you had to get walked to your car, so I would tip every night that I worked $5, $10 to $5. Sometimes 20. They'd expect 20 sometimes.
20.
Yeah.
I would
walk you to the car.
I would walk.
But you have to get walked.
Dancers to their cars for way less than $20 a walk.
I know. I mean, 20 is like really, really.
It's like
a
the
good
best
night.
job ever.
That's like it's a good night. It's like
What difference does it
make?
But
if you were just
what I'm saying about
consistent.
paying more is like if you're gonna tip more because you did better
That's what
inside the club. They're doing the same job. Why does it matter to them? They don't know how you did.
Yeah. Well, I always stayed consistent, so I'm not going to tell how much I tip.
You just did.
Well,
$5 a walk.
Well, like $2 here. No, about $5. Because you have to. What you do is like you get that. Okay, so what
You're
it is.
not
This is
being very
inside. This is the inside thing. I don't want to tell people my freaking. Well, this is like a long time ago. Well, you get that one last dance.
It's none of your business.
You get that one last dance to tip the DJ, the valet guy, and the bartender. You're like, okay, this is the tip. This is the
now
thing.
I can leave.
So house fee was like $120 because it's the house fee, and so you're paying $100 to work plus the tip.
Such a racket.
And then so you're in the whole 120, or it depends on what time you work, but yeah.
A Hollywood guy says, remember, Annette was raised in a country where tipping does not happen.
That's right. We didn't know about that either.
Yeah,
I mean, we just
knew.
mentioned it, but I didn't realize. I didn't realize that she was. I didn't put that together.
But she is not in that country.
Oh, whatever.
She is not there. She is here.
Speak our language, damn it.
Speak our language. Go back to Norway.
No. Is that where is she from? Is that where she's from?
Pretty sure.
Oh, wow. Yeah, but they shouldn't hate on her, dude. That's kind of shallow. That's really shallow.
Yeah.
If anything, they should just politely talk to her or have somebody talk to her politely.
Well, look, there's nothing that she can do to the dealers of the Venetian that is going to make me less of a fanboy. I don't want any of you listening to think that I'm not a fan, because I am. Anytime someone says, who are your favorite poker players? She always makes the short list. But the dealers sure don't like her. That's too bad. Look at Unreal saying we also tip our cops.
We do?
Firefighters with free coffee and donuts.
Bad.
And I think that's true, right? I mean,
they
a lot of
tip
times cops will show up at a business or something, and they'll get
be
free
like,
stuff.
Where's my toke?
They'll get the blue discount.
You want protection? Give me my donut. Is that right? Well, shoot, I'm going to be a cop.
Indobird says, Dutch, what do you think of all these poker vlogs out now?
There's vlogs?
Like, which ones are you talking about?
I thought he was asking.
I'm aware of the Doug Polk vlog, which is pretty awesome. I know Paul Thwa was going to do a vlog for a second, and he's not doing it anymore. So I'm not really quite sure which ones you're talking about, but I guess more content in poker has to be good, right?
Yeah. So people, it's good. Yeah, it's good to have content because people are more aware of the
Definitely
game and
I hate them. I hate them.
I thought he was asking me if you recommend any.
Do I recommend any?
Do
I
you
definitely
recommend
recommend the Doug Polk vlog.
Oh, he loves Doug Polk.
Doug Polk makes me laugh so hard when I watch it.
Dutch loves him.
And he also is really good at explaining deep, high-level concepts of poker. I feel like Doug Polk is world class for sure. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. But I also feel like Doug thinks he's better than he actually is.
No, Dutch, he is good.
He does.
Don't say that.
He really, I think he really underestimates a lot of poker players at the highest levels, and I also think that he has a big gap in his game when it comes to card sense and instincts. I think he puts way too much emphasis on the GTO aspects of poker, the mathematical aspects of poker, and not enough on the psychology and live tells aspects of it. When he starts talking, he'll do like hand of the days where he's talking about, a hand that went on in Aussie Millions between him and Phil Ivey, and he's talking about how the bluff is correct here for me because he'll go through like what the optimal bluff frequency on the river is and what Ivey's optimal call frequency is, and I guarantee you Ivey is not thinking about it in that way. This is like the problem with with a lot of these online high stakes pros who think in terms of range, range versus range, where Ivey is looking at Doug and he is looking at blink frequency and breathing frequency and how he's putting out his chips, and he's trying to not think in terms of range. He's trying to think in terms of a hand. A single hand. This is part of what I think, where I think Doug's game actually falls short, is he's too used to the online aspect, and this is why he underestimates players like Jason Mercier, perfect example, when he starts calling Jason Mercier a bad reg. And then Jason Mercier comes in and has the best World Series that I think anybody can really remember, winning 2 bracelets, almost winning 3, like 4 final tables at 10Ks. But if you ask Doug, who's a better poker player, you or Jason Mercier, he's going to think that he's the better poker player. And you say, well, what about results? He's like, results don't matter. Ask Jason Mercier to talk intelligently about optimum bluff frequency on the river. No question, Doug is better at that kind of stuff. But when it comes to being able to control and manipulate your opponents at a psychological level, I don't really think that Doug's game is quite where he thinks it is.
I think most people are like that, though.
Yeah, you're right. Most people do overestimate their own abilities. But no question that Doug is one of the greats and is so entertaining. And he is very good at explaining some very deep concepts of poker. So I would totally recommend his vlog. I subscribe to it. I watch it, several times a week. It always has me laughing, and it also makes me think. A Poem by Dutch Boy. Didn't realize that was going to rhyme. I highly recommend it. I watch it every week. It always has me laughing, and sometimes makes me think. Wow. All right, so Ricky Love Dart, I'm going to go ahead and come along with the check raise with our mid pair. I think Jack 4 is probably going to be ahead of your range.
Do you think you're better, babe? Do you overestimate yourself?
Do I think I'm better than I actually am?
Well, I think you're good, though.
Yeah, I do. I definitely overestimate myself.
You do at times, but But I think at times you have those amazing moments, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Those little amazing moments. What is that bias? There's like winner's bias. Is that what it is when you?
There's a lot of cognitive bias.
Bias.
There's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect,
mm-hmm.
which refers to the idea that people who aren't good at something don't know that they're not good at it. That's probably the closest to what we're trying to nail down. Confidence, cognitive bias. Overconfidence effect. The overconfidence effect is a well-established bias in which a person's subjective confidence in his or her judgments is reliably greater than the objective accuracy of those judgments, especially when confidence is relatively high.
God, I used to have high confidence at one point.
I definitely feel like I used to be way more confident in my poker abilities. And the better I got, the less confident I got. But I still probably suffer from the overconfidence effect.
Yeah, that's okay. At least you're aware of it. A lot of people aren't even aware.
Well, there's definitely certain moves that I just don't have in my game. I don't have it in my book. Where if, I check on the river to give up and someone fires out a bet, and I'm check raising as a bluff, because the optimal check raise bluff frequency there should be 20%. So I take 20% of my range, and I don't have those kind of moves, and I don't. When Doug Polk will do like a hand review and show like on a high stakes, like the big game or whatever, the high stakes poker, television show where there'll be I remember one with Annette Oberstad. Annette Oberstad played a big hand against was it Justin Smith. She played a big hand where he had the nut, full house, and she had the third nut flush. It was a paired board, and he checked, and she fired out a big bet, and he check raised all in for less than her firing out, and she makes the fold, which I felt like was a really impressive fold. She's very good at knowing where she's at in the hand. And it went to the booth, and Phil Hellmuth is like, he's just never bluffing there. And I kind of agree with Phil on that. But then Doug Polk starts talking about how, no, there's this optimal bluff frequency percentage where Justin would be making this check raise 20% of the time with these types of hands and turning these types of hands into bluffs. See, I don't think that Justin would ever do that. I think Doug would, but I don't think Justin would.
Was he bluffing?
No.
Oh, he was.
He's never bluffing.
See, I don't. You're the one that says never use the word never. So.
Well, yeah, you're right.
People are like, people like to think they know what people are up to in their
Except when I
minds.
say never open lab.
Wait, what if poker changes though? What if poker changes when people start reading minds? Then what? What the fuck? Then what? What happens to poker? If all of a sudden
I'll tell
we
you
can
what
read
happens to
people's
poker.
minds?
I'll tell you what happens to poker.
You have ace 10 right now, don't you? No, you don't have anything. You're not even on.
What a corny dad joke.
What were you gonna say? I don't. What did you say? I didn't hear you. Can you speak louder?
No.
Oh, he had ace 10 though. See, I was close. Look at that.
You knew.
Yeah, I did know.
B. Water's a good player. He's really pretty
I'm supposed
good.
to ask you a question. My wee wee's green wants me to ask you something, but I don't know what it was. Let's see. What was
Look at this huge, beautiful hand. Do you know what it is? Do you know what we have, Michelle? I'm not going to get excited about it anymore.
it? Aces.
Yep.
So you're supposed to bet 3 times what he bet.
We can call too. I'm going to slow play it against young Phil Collins. Not a good flop for our aces.
See?
Not only does that really mess us up if one of these guys does have a queen, it chills our action quite a bit.
Then everybody else's too for a minute.
It makes it so that hands like pocket nines or pocket like some sort of pocket pair or ace queen or like ace jack just don't continue. I just don't think that we're going to get really paid off.
Oh
So-
yeah, that's right. You probably won't.
It's a really bad flop for aces. Not it's not so bad because we still probably have the best hand. It's bad because it just really chills our action.
Because everybody's gonna think you have a queen. Yeah.
They don't have anything to call with. That's the problem. We want to flop like queen jack 4.
So they don't have a because you don't want them to have a queen either.
So yeah, I guess that was a
How is
situation we probably
is
should
Doug
3-bet.
Polk just still doing his run it up roll?
Yeah, and I think he's doing well.
Oh, we're good.
I think that he's actually like over $1,000 at this point.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty
What is he trying to
impressive.
hit? What is he trying to hit?
10,000.
Oh, wow.
He's trying
Nice.
to go from
Well,
$100
once you hit
to
once
10K.
you get to that 1K, I think it becomes easier, right?
Well, I mean, it not
Not
really.
You have more confident, maybe.
turning 100 into 1,000 is probably easier than turning 1,000 into 10,000.
Oh, okay. We'll see. Good luck, Doug Polk.
There's no question about that. It is easier to turn 100 into 1,000 than 1,000 into 10,000, especially on WSOP Nevada, because there's way more micro stakes games than there are mid stakes games. And a lot of people are on WSOP Nevada, like John Blaze, for example, are willing to sit down with Doug Polk at a micro limit game just for the ability to actually play with him at stakes where it doesn't really hurt. But once you start getting to the point where you're losing $500, $1,000 to Doug Polk, I mean, who wants to do that? Who wants to actually like sit down with Doug when he's sitting with $5,000 on the table? Only those overconfident, dudes are like, Doug thinks he's better than he is. I'm better than Doug.
I guess. So it's such a man thing, right? Or is it alpha?
Definitely an
Such an
ego
alpha thing. Alpha.
So Druff PDX says, do you not travel to the Bahamas for the events this time of the year? I don't really feel like traveling to support PCA. I guess it's not PCA anymore. Yeah. We've got enough tournaments here in Vegas, and I don't... Poker Stars isn't really my favorite place to play anyway, but especially this year. I don't understand how anybody can really feel that great about playing on Stars and supporting Stars after this last year and a half where they really screwed over everybody. And they personally screwed over me by not allowing me to do player-to-player transfers when I went up to Canada. That really sucked. That really put a wrench in the whole W Coop for me. And it really left me
for
with
like
a sour
no
taste
reason.
in
It
my
was
mouth.
really weird.
It really left me with a sour taste. So I'm not going to do that again, and I'm not going to support Poker Stars. I'm not going to do it. You know, I think that the PCA main event is probably still a pretty good value, even when you factor in the travel expenses. But there are better values on the tournament trail, and you are supporting a business that is fucking over poker players. They're fucking us over. So why are you supporting them? Oh, well, because of the money and everything. Well, okay, fine. If you're Jason Kuhn, I can understand it. You just made 1 point whatever million in the high roller. But if you're just going out down there for some prelims and the main event, save your money and go play a WPT somewhere else, or go play a WSOP somewhere else. Play an HPT somewhere. Play somewhere where they're actually going to appreciate you as a player rather than just screw you over.
But don't they screw you over with a rake?
Everyone does, but I mean, PokerStars, like the Supernova changes that PokerStars made was, in the way I see it, it was just basically stealing. It was stealing. It was conversion. It was highly immoral and unethical.
Was there a class action
illegal
lawsuit?
Yeah.
Isn't there one going right now, or is it still being settled? Or
I'm pretty sure that there is or was. I don't know exactly what ended up happening to it, but at best unethical and immoral, at worst illegal. And then you look at like all the other like really gross things that PokerStars has been doing in the last year and a half with their changes to the rake structure,
adding casinos, slot machines,
machines and spinning goes and making turning poker more into blackjack and video poker, where it's going to be unbeatable. I mean, in their head, they would like a poker experience where everybody loses.
Well, they want the slot machines.
They're doing it.
Yeah.
They're doing it. It's not like this theory that, wouldn't that be nice? No, it's let's do it. And they're doing it.
It's becoming very much an extractive institution.
It is an extractive
and that's
economic
bad.
Institution.
When it's extractive, it's
and
bad
look
because
at all
they
the,
just
all
try
the
to take
insider
and take
trading
instead
and
of an
corruption that is
one.
happening under Amaya. You look at like David Bezov with all these insider trading things, and then all these weird shenanigans where he's like, "Oh, I've got these supports of these banks to make a little buyout," and the stock just jumps. And all of his little insider cronies just made a whole bunch of money.
But it's a lie because
it's like,
he never talked to the banks.
Mind.
Right, he never talked to the banks, right?
There's so many things about PokerStars that just make me sick right now. And
but it's like it's a power thing. It's a money power thing because it has nothing to do with you as an individual. It's taking advantage of a system.
It is,
and it's trying to extract as much as it can until legislation comes in and stops them. Yeah. That's basically the powers that we have as a people, is to
I'll tell you,
work it.
Desband2131 saying Doug's doing a week on Live at the Bike in February, and I really like Live at the Bike. I was watching a little bit of Live at the Bike when Ryan Fee, Doug's partner in Upswing Poker, was on there, and he took a bad beat for a really big pot, and man, he took it like a pro. I was so impressed. The guy ended up like 2-outing him for a really big pot. And Ryan just like shakes his head and he's like, "You always do it to me, man. You always do it to me." And he's like having it with a smile and like making the guy feel good about the play. And I couldn't, like, he was really pro about it. Where inside, I mean, it hurts. It hurts to lose. It doesn't feel good to lose. It's important that when you're playing against a big donator fish in the game that you regularly play, that you don't turn them off. You need to make them feel good about playing, because more often than not, they're walking away a loser in your game. And Brian was really good at implementing that. In tournaments, it's not so important because it's usually one-offs that you're playing.
Yes.
In cash games, it's much more important. Ryan J says, X1, who's better, Doug or Butch?
Everyone has their own gifts.
I don't know who Butch is.
This is a you, Butch.
Dutch.
Butch.
Definitely me.
Definitely. I'm the best.
Ryan
I would fucking wipe the floors with them both.
Yeah, she would. It's true. She beat me at Raz once, heads up.
No,
she never lets me forget it.
I will play a board game, though. I'll play some Western Trail. Or some Agricola. But I suck at... I mean, Dutch is really good at Agricola, though. But you know what? I have a feeling that I've been thinking about board games in a different way, and so I feel like I'm getting better.
So the Hammer Time says there's some decent regs on WSOP in the higher stakes that are bankrolled to take on Doug. Dudes like Underrolled, Kudos, and a few others could give him a run for his money. But would they, Hammer Time? Would they? Because I think that when you are, a decent reg on WSOP in the higher stakes, you're not really looking to prove yourself anymore. You're just looking to make money. You're looking to bum hunt. I mean, most of the time, when I see some of these higher stakes regs, they're sitting there alone waiting for somebody to join the game, and there'd be like
they're
two
just
of
sitting
them.
in the.
There would be like two of them who've just stopped playing each other.
Yeah.
And there's like one in this 1020 and one in this 1020, and they're both waiting.
I mean, it's scary if you just come to a table and there's two guys sitting there talking, and then you sit down and they're like, "Oh shit, game start!" Right? Hey, Artie Kabuto, good to see you. But yeah, it's such a weird game. Poker is really.
Yeah. Making the fold against Be So Heartless. Yeah, Ryan Fee's videos are also really good. He's not as good of a conversationalist he's not as good of a presenter as Doug is, and he also isn't as good at the technical aspects of making a video. Like the lighting and the makeup and the background and everything. It's a little more amateur hour when it comes to what he's doing. And then when it comes to
who's doing?
Ryan Fee.
Oh.
And then it's also really interesting because he'll stumble over little parts of his video, and I'm like, well, why didn't he just edit that out? He's not editing.
He's confident, babe.
He's just kind of.
He's confident about who he is and what he's putting out there. That's why.
Well, his videos are not as enjoyable to watch as Doug, but they are
Doug's
every
are
bit
funny.
as substantive. As far as the substance of what he's saying, Ryan is a really good smart dude, and we're lucky to have the content that they're putting out on YouTube. I highly recommend it. It's funny throwing the last troll talking about the old WSEX model.
What is WSEX?
WSEX was one of the very, very first online sports books, World Sports Exchange.
It's a cool acronym.
And when it's kind of interesting because when you look at the history of online gambling, what happened were a bunch of Americans and Canadians basically set up shop for all these online sports books and then online casinos, and then
what year was this?
This was 94.
94?
No, it's probably like 95, 96.
Okay.
Like pretty much as soon as the internet really started catching on,
okay,
people were using the internet for porn and gambling. So
the only things that the internet should be used for.
Pretty much. I mean, those are the swift adopters. Those are the ones. Like those were the first ones to really adopt Bitcoin.
That's right. That is right.
Porn, gambling, and drugs.
Drugs got thrown in the mix now.
Yeah, but they weren't really doing that. In the early days of the internet, I don't think.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Or porn.
Drug shops.
We don't know. They probably did. They probably had forums, like underground forums of people meeting for drugs, right?
So anyway, WSEX was one of the very first sports books, and they got into the casinos too.
Are they not around anymore then?
They aren't, because when the very first indictments went through under the Wire Act, Title 18 USC 1084, all of the WSEX guys ended up getting indicted.
Oh wow!
And I think one of the WSEX guys actually came back to the States to fight it.
What year was that?
I want to say 2000.
Wow.
2001 maybe, or 1999. So WSEX basically tried to start expanding its business into casinos and into poker. But when they tried to expand into poker, they realized that they didn't know what they were doing. Their software completely blew. They didn't understand the poker market like they understood the online sportsbook market, and it couldn't be more different. People who are playing online poker generally aren't playing online slots, and they're not doing it in a degenerate gambler sort of way. They're doing it in a way that they are trying to actually make a profitable hobby or even a career out of it. So they didn't really understand the poker mindset. They didn't understand how to market to them, and they ended up failing, like bigly, like it was a ghost town. No one was there, and so they're going to shut it down.
Bigly, is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah. But instead of shutting it down, they decided to do something a little bit novel and just say, okay, well, why don't we try to remove the rake, period. And we'll use poker as kind of a loss leader to get players into our casino and sports books.
Oh.
And what we'll also do is basically stick it to the other the other competitors in the market. We'll remove the rake because that way we'll be able to capture market share from the other casinos and the other card rooms like Poker Stars and Paradise Poker, and Planet Poker, and Party Poker, and no one will be able to undercut us on price.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Didn't work.
Because their software sucked.
Because their software sucked and no one cared. People don't pay attention to the rake. People don't look at
Especially since it was a new and novel thing. People don't really understand the consequences in the long run of how the rake affects
And the way that the rake is collected just makes it so that players don't see it. They don't notice it.
Especially in online.
And what's interesting about WSEX is I think that if WSEX had maintained their card room for a while, it probably would have caught on eventually. But they basically had zero advertising budget at that point. Mm-hmm. They couldn't pay money for customers like other card rooms could. Other card rooms were paying upwards of $300 per sign up. And WSEX wasn't paying anything.
Oh, for affiliates.
They were just completely reliant on word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the thing is, it doesn't matter if players see the rake or not. It doesn't matter that players aren't looking at rake to make their decision of where to play. A rake-free card room benefits the economy because it allows big fish and big losers to stay in action longer, and it allows players who are slight losing players on other sides to actually be break even and winning, slight winning players. So basically, these players who would be going broke and disappearing into the wind, they end up becoming unpaid props for you. So I actually think that when people say, "Oh, well, the WSX card room was a big failure," they didn't really have enough time to really pan out, because I think eventually players, I think it would have caught on, but eventually WSX just I think they sold to another illegal online gambling operation, and
they probably don't want the headache anymore.
All the operators, like the original guys, were either in prison or hiding from the FBI and the Department of Justice, and I think the whole site eventually went down. But the card room side of it definitely went down, and even when they eliminated the rake, it definitely did not have the explosive growth that whatever whoever were the operators were kind of hoping that it might have had. And certainly players who wanted rake-free games, it still just wasn't as profitable to play on WSEX as it was on a site like Party or Stars, because of the liquidity. They just didn't have the vast, the mass amount of fish in the player pool.
The ocean.
Yeah, and they didn't have the money in the player pool. They didn't have the deposits that other sites had. So even though the other sites were raking the hell out of you,
so that's why it's the opposite, because it's like all these players are playing on Stars because of the name recognition and all the advertising that they put in for years and years and years. It's paid through, and now Stars can abuse.
That's right, because Stars doesn't really have competition.
That's right.
They really don't. They kind of have Party Poker. They bought Full Tilt. So they basically have a monopoly. And they also have a problem, because they've pretty much reached the end of the recruitment chain. Their player acquisition cost at this point has probably never been higher. It probably does not. It probably has never cost them more money to get a new person who has never heard of PokerStars to come and play and deposit on the site. You know, that, and they don't really need to, because there's nowhere really else to play. Everyone's heard of Stars. You know, anyone who is looking at playing poker knows that it's an option. So I don't know. It's just sad. It's just sad.
It's just sad. It's not really sad.
I think it's sad. I think it's sad because poker is becoming, poker is in a decline. And the operators are not helping the situation. They're just squeezing it as quickly as they can, for as much as they can.
Until people change it.
Really, really, really tempting to make a little check raise there against BRB Got a P.
Elocution. What's
the skill of clear and expressive speech, especially of distinct pronunciation.
Where did this
and articulation?
Was it somebody's name here?
It means don't say
Who said
I say
You say We all say
Ponyfish says, can you mention for new subs who Exmoy is and her poker accomplishments at last year's WSOP? So Exmoy is right down there. Michelle J. Cusper. She's my long-term girlfriend and teammate in life. And last year, she played the WSOP ladies event and cashed, so her in-the-money percentage of the WSOP is a whopping 100%. She sold pieces of herself, so a lot of the people here in the stream were able to actually cash out on that. Poker Fun asks, what card room has the lowest rake in Vegas? And I'm not sure what the answer to that is, Poker Fun.
I would be guessing it's like some offshoot.
Take a guess.
Arizona Charlie's.
I feel like that's a good guess. But
or Nugget, maybe. Even.
I bet that all of them are still raking $4.
You think so? Let's see.
I do, yeah.
What's Arizona Charlie? I think Arizona Charlie's is a good guess.
It is a good guess.
Let's see.
I'll go to Bravo Poker Live and look at Arizona Charlie's.
I guess you can Google it.
I think $4 is
it's standard. Looks like 10%.
Yeah, 10% up to 4 is pretty much what you're going to find everywhere. Where's Arizona Charlie's? Arizona Charlie's isn't even here. I don't think Arizona Charlie's has a card room.
God dang it. Okay, I'm gonna guess. Well, I guess it's not the same. I thought they did though.
Let's guess Cannery in North Las Vegas.
I think it has a sports book though.
Cannery has all these like quads on flop bonuses and straight flushes on flop.
Did they have a poker room?
The Cannery?
No, Arizona Charlie's.
Really?
Yeah. Just not. So the rig's so low. $3. No. I don't know if they do or not. They have tournaments.
Green Valley Ranch just has their promotions. Doesn't talk about
Maybe not. Yeah, they have 3 tables. We should call them. Why don't you call them? Ask.
I don't want to call them. You can call them if you want. But Caesars isn't so bad these days. It's $4 cap, but I think they also have a dollar.
But bonus.
Dollar bonus. Take. No kidding. Caesars right now has a 6-12 mixed game going on. I should go play that game.
Still the same. $4.
I love mixed games. And anytime you have like Caesars having a weird game,
and there's no flop, no.
It's always like an insanely good game.
They have a comp rate too of $3 in food comps for 2 hours of play. Is that normal too?
$2 an hour?
$3
an hour
for every 2 hours.
kind of feel like $2 an hour
Standard.
is more standard.
Yeah,
we got position on him, but we also have kind of a lame hand here. Under the gun with ace queen off. I don't know. Make the fold. Gonna make the fold. Do you be so heartless?
I think the next big gaming boom, guys, is gonna be esports. So get ready to play them esport games. Work on your Overwatch.
Yeah, I guess. I don't think that. I think that if I spent every day 12 hours a day training on Overwatch for the next year and a half, I don't think I would eat. I think I would still suck. Yeah.
But sucking is the first step of being kind of good at something.
Esports is different than poker, in that I don't really think that you can achieve a world-class level the same way. Like if you work really hard at poker, and study and work on your game, and eventually you can be at the top of the game, and you can always find profitable situations to actually make money doing it. Esports, I don't really think is like that. I think it's more like Olympic sports, where Michael Phelps worked really, really hard, but he also has some amount of just God-given talent that God gave him.
But there's going to be esports that are going to be more strategic and more competitive in a different way, not necessarily a first-person shooter type game. That is the beginning of esports. There's going to be other games.
Most of these esports are very twitching. Hearthstone is different. Hearthstone is more,
it's a strategic game.
I do feel like if I, devoted myself to Hearthstone, I could probably be one of the top players.
And you pretty much do.
I am a legendary player on Hearthstone, by the way. I'm legendary.
I think that's a good investment. I think you should look into getting into that, Dutch. That should be the next game. Why not?
Hearthstone?
Be a professional Hearthstone player. There's $1 million guarantee, right? In the upcoming winter.
Yeah, but there's also a lot more players who are competing for it.
But there's no rake, right?
Yeah. There's your time.
Yeah,
your
there's
time is worth something,
and you can buy packs.
Look how much time you would have to actually invest into.
But that's silly, Dutch.
You spent. What am I supposed to do here? It's a 14,400 in the middle. We've got pocket jacks. I think we just make the shove and hope he doesn't have a king or aces or queens. This might be my last hand of the night. What do you think, Michelle? GG.
I think you're supposed to fold.
I guess.
That's a shit hand. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it is a shit hand. I kind of felt like Turtles with a hand like Ace King probably would have just shoved pre-flop after I 3-bet, but he decided not to. He decided to slow play it. It wasn't really a slow play. It was like I hope I could catch an ace or king on the flop. If the flop had just come one king, I think it would have been a lot easier just to to get away from the jacks. The fact that there's two kings out there really start eating up the combinations of kings that Turtles could have. Anyway, GG, you guys, and you know what? It has been awesome. We're going to do another stream on Monday and Tuesday of next week, and I hope that you guys join us. Make sure to click on that follow button.
And make sure you follow Dutch on Twitch or Twitter. And if you guys see any cool poker news stories, make sure you add us so we can read up and talk about it.
We'll talk about
Monday
it on the
and Tuesday.
So, guys, thanks again for joining us. All of you guys are really awesome. Really appreciate all the bits, and really appreciate all of you subs. If it wasn't for you subs, we wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't continue to be streaming. So, thank you for the resubs. And if you feel like supporting the stream, make sure to click on that sub button.
And bits. We appreciate every bit of bits that we got, and hopefully next week we'll have our bit cup ready and set.
Yeah.
Because I really want to see the little Bitcoin chart going up.
Yeah.
I want to see pennies.
I'll try to get the bit cup going by next stream. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you being here.
And maybe eventually we'll have an Overwatch team
Yeah.
RT Caboodle, and we can start streaming that because that's where it's going, right?
Have a good night, guys.
Night, guys.